Wisdom is one of those things that every Christian should be striving to get. Every single one of us should want to have more wisdom. But what is wisdom? Wisdom is knowing what to do, knowing what God wants you to do, and then doing that thing, doing that action, whatever it is that God wants you to do. In Kids Zone, we're talking about wisdom right now, and one of the Bible stories we are looking at for wisdom is the parable of the two builders. Now, in this parable in Matthew chapter 7, Jesus tells us that there is one builder who is very wise because he builds his house on rock, a strong foundation, that the weather will not blow around, will not blow away, it will not be destroyed. But there's a foolish builder who builds on sand, and the sand is wavering. It's not as strong, and so when wind and weather comes his way, the house will surely be destroyed. And he talks about the wise builder being the one who built on the rock, and the foolish builder being the one who built on the sand. Early on in my life, I learned that story, and it always impacted me. It's one of my parables that I go back to, one of Jesus' parables that I go back to time and time again. I love to read this parable simply because I love the idea of having wisdom. I love the idea of not only having it, but using wisdom. Because wisdom is not just knowing what to do, but it's also doing the thing that God wants you to do. So then the question is, how do I get more wisdom? Well, today I have 3 things you can do that will help you get more wisdom. Number 1, and this is the most simple one, ask for it. James chapter 1 verse 5 says, "If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking." I remember reading that verse as a teenager, thinking to myself, wow, all I have to do is ask God for wisdom, and he's not going to get mad at me. He's not going to say, why don't you have wisdom? In fact, God wants to give us wisdom. It says he is generous, and God will generously give us the wisdom. And so my challenge to you would not just be to ask for wisdom when you think you need it, you're in a crunch and you say, oh, okay, I need wisdom in this situation, but consistently be asking God for wisdom. So in every moment of your life, you are prepared and God has been giving you the wisdom you need. Number 2, read wisdom literature. Books like Job, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, the Psalms, the Proverbs are all wisdom literature in the Bible. These are all books of the Bible that are filled with wisdom that can be applied to our daily lives. One thing I started doing was I started reading 1 chapter of Proverbs a day. I began doing that because there are 31 chapters in Proverbs, and in a month I could get through the entire book. Now, in February, you doubled up a few days, and on the months where there's 30 days, you doubled up probably at the end or in the beginning, just whatever you preferred. And so that would be my challenge to you, is to begin reading the book of Proverbs 1 chapter a day. And finally, number 3, lay down your pride. Admit that you do not know it all. One of the things that is plaguing our culture in a terrible way is pride. Not only America, but also foreign countries as well. And it will always be the center of sin. To me, the pride, the desire to know more yourself than anyone else, to know more than God, to know more than anything, and to have this power that you want to obtain is one of the roots of sin. It's one of the things that makes us sin more than anything else, because we are disregarding our need for God and saying, I can do this all on my own. Proverbs chapter 11 verse 2 says, "Pride leads to disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom." And so, knowing that verse, knowing all that we know about the Bible, we know that when we are humble, when we are willing to ask God for help, when we're willing to say, God, I don't know it all, I'm depending on you, we can be wise because we are humble enough to admit to God that we need him. So I would challenge you to do those 3 things today. Start by doing those 3 things, and I guarantee you will get more wisdom. Thanks for joining us.